Hi, hello everyone. I'm Dr. Visweswaraiah as Assistant Professor of English, working in Government First Grade College, Kunigal, which is affiliated to Tumkur University, Karnataka. So, dear viewers, in this session, my presentation will be on John Dryden. So, viewers, John Dryden, a very important key poet or a leading poet of Restoration period of English literature. So, this particular session will be carried with biography note of John Dryden. So when we just say the name or a great name, John Dryden, it is very important that just remember that Restoration period of English literature. So John Dryden plays an important role as a poet, as a literary critic, playwright, and more. So, learning John Dryden gives you highlights on the important aspects of the age of Dryden. So, look at that. The Restoration period, also called as the age of Dryden. So, to name age in the name of a Dryden is not a simply to take it to consideration. There must be something. So that is why. So you need to focus, or you need to know the biography of John Dryden. Okay, so along with this, you will be highlighted some of the hints about his writings, especially with the prescribed syllabus for Tumkur University and in other university as well. A song for Saint Cecilia's Day, written by John Dryden. So there, how Dryden is really wrote the song on the commemoration of Saint Cecilia, a martyr, a virgin of that era, and we can say that relating to such ancient history and mythology, using that and giving dedicating such a song for that day, November 22nd of is considered as Saint Cecilia's Day. Okay, viewers, look at that. Mac Flecknoe as well is a very famous writing of Dryden. So, sorry. So this is how you need to know Dryden. Okay. So, dear viewers, the biography starts from his early years and carried with his achievements as a writer, and even his career, and as a at the end how it leads to such a great writer to name as Age of Dryden. Okay, so dear viewers, let us have some slides on the screen so that you will be able to recollect or to know the biographical details of John Dryden. Okay, Yeah. Okay. Look at that. This slide is on the details of my topic. John Dryden at a glance. Right. Let us go to the next slide so that you'll be able to have some details about Dryden. Okay, look at that. John Dryden era is considered from 1631 to 1700. This is his timeline. I repeat, John Dryden, who was born in 1631 and ended his era or his life in 1700. Okay, look at that early life of John Dryden. Okay, to move it, John Dryden was born in Northamptonshire, England, on August 9, 1631. John Dryden came from a land-owning family with connections to Parliament and the Church of England. This is how John Dryden was born in a very rich family as well. Okay, so he studied at King's Scholar at the prestigious Westminster School of London, where he later sent two of his own children to the same school in London. Okay, dear viewers, look at that, how he started his education there. John Dryden was trained in the art of rhetorical argument, which remained a strong influence on the poet's writing and critical thought throughout his life. So he didn't compromise anywhere at all. The writings as well focused on his strong, critical thoughts. That is what in the early I told you that he considered the greatest literary critic of the time. Right? Look at that how. Okay. So his education. This slide is on the education of Dryden. So Dryden published his first poem and in 1649. Look at that, when he enrolled at the Trinity College in Cambridge, and sorry. So he studied the classics, rhetoric, and mathematics. His subjects were very interesting. Look at that, classics and rhetoric and mathematics were his subjects of choice. He obtained his BA, Bachelor of Arts, in 1654, graduating first in his class. Look at that, he was the first in his class. In June of the same that year, it is very pathetic that Dryden's father died. Okay, so look at that. The next, his career. So after his education, John Dryden didn't simply spend his time. He didn't simply spend his time, but look at that. After graduation, Dryden found work with Oliver Cromwell's Secretary of State. You have to remember, in my previous videos, I was highlighting that before the Restoration, before the Restoration, a leader, a Puritan leader in England, was famous for his conventions and Puritan beliefs. That was Oliver Cromwell. So working with such he was a Secretary of State. That was very, very important and a prominent job. John Torloy, marking a radical shift in the poet's political views. Okay, alongside Puritan poets John Milton and Andrew Marvell, Dryden was present at Cromwell's funeral in 1658. Somewhat, though John Dryden was there in the Puritan leader, with the Puritan leader, it was very important that though he was with John Milton and Andrew Marvell, he did not completely, follow them. Okay. A year later, he published his first important poem. That is very important. Okay, that is heroic stanzas eulogizing the leader. Okay, this is it is as usual. It is very important to know that there were writers or the poets who were there with some of the kings or with the kingdom. So automatically it is to eulogizing the leader. So he wrote heroic stanzas there, and in 1660. It's very important. Dryden celebrated the regime of King Charles II. As I already told you that a very important shift here, that in 1660 Restoration period began with the Charles II, who restored the monarchy system here. Okay, he celebrated the regime of King Charles II with Asteria Redux, a royalist panegyric in praise of the new king. Okay, so in that poem, Dryden apologizes for his allegiances with the Cromwell government. This obviously it is because happens that he was when he was with the Cromwell's government, wrote about Cromwell's ruling and in such a way. So this here very important. Dryden apologizes about his allegiances with the Cromwell's government there. Okay, though Samuel Johnson excused Dryden for this, writing in his Lives of the Poets in 1779, that if he changed with the nation. Look at that, how Johnson writes like this. If he changed with the nation. He also notes that the earlier work was not totally forgotten, and in fact raised him enemies. That is how this is important to note. Okay, so then now look at that poetic career of John Dryden began with the establishing in Restoration. Dryden quickly established himself after the Restoration as the leading poet and literary critic of his day. So he published to his Sacred Majesty a panegyric on his coronation in 1662, and to my Lord Chancellor in 1662, possibly to quote aristocratic patrons. So in this way, John Dryden was proposed for a membership in the Royal Society and was elected as early fellow. That was very interesting point here. So in 1663, he married Lady Elizabeth, the royalist sister of Sir Robert Howard. Okay, so this is how his poetic career began. Then look at that. After the death of William Davenant in April 1668, Dryden became the first official poet laureate of England. This is very important. The royal office carried the responsibility of composing occasional works in celebration of public events. So, Dryden, having exhibited that particular dexterity with his earlier panegyrics, was a natural choice. Okay, so he was dismissed by William III and Mary III in 1688, and after he refused to swear on an oath of allegiance, remaining loyal to James II. Okay, so that is how his career took place. And to move with John Dryden as a playwright. As a playwright, he was very successful and even wrote many plays of the time. As a playwright, Dryden published The Wild Gallant in 1663. Though it was not financially successful, he was commissioned to produce 3 plays for the King's Company. That is how the play, because in 1663 the Wild Gallant, so that was the time of exactly when the King Charles II reopened the theatre. There, the writers like John Dryden, many, they started to write their dramas or the plays. So, though it was not financially successful then, and he was commissioned to produce 3 plays for the King's Company. His best known dramatic works are Marriage of Lamont in 1672 and All for Love in 1678, and which was written in blank verse, and when a bubonic plague swept through London in 1665, Dryden moved to Wiltshire, where he wrote of dramatic poesy. Okay, that we call that dramatic poesy in 1668. Yeah, so like this, as a playwright, John Dryden was very successful and wrote such a very interesting plays for the public or for the audience, right? So to move with, look at here, dramatic poesy as the longest of his critical works. The piece takes the form of a dialogue among characters debating and defending international dramatic works and practices. Okay, sorry. In 1678, John Dryden wrote very interesting writing, that is Matt Flecknoe, which was published in 1682, a work of satiric verse attacking Thomas Shadwell, one of the Dryden's prominent contemporaries of his time, for his offenses against literature. See, this also famous writing. Look at that; it's a work of satiric verse. See, writing verse satirically was very interesting for of the time. Okay, look at, and then so other works of satire, which include many, among that a genre for which Dryden has received significant praise include Absalom and Architophel, which was written in 1681, and the Medal, that was in 1682. So like this, his career began and involved in such writings and in such plays, and verse and writings like that. Okay, to move with, it is very important to know that later stage of his life, Dryden died on May 1st, 1700. Initially, his body buried in Saint Anne's cemetery. In 1710, he was moved to the Poet's Corner of Westminster Abbey, where a memorial has been established in the name of John Dryden. So this is how John Dryden ended his career or life. So his contribution to literature is abundant. Variety of writings and influenced many poets, writers, and audiences, readers as well. So having such writers in the syllabus for this in literature students helps you to know more about restoration kind of, or restoration literature, how the contribution such writers influenced much on literature and in the field of literary criticism and in the field of literary development. Okay, to move at these are the references, and to know that okay, this is how John Dryden, as a playwright, as a critic, as a writer, poet, and very influential leading poet of Restoration period of English literature. So this is very important to know on his writings as well. So let us have in the next few sessions on the poetry of John Dryden, that's a song for Saint Cecilia's Day. Okay, dear viewers, okay, this is about a biographical note on, or biographical sketch on John Dryden. I hope it made you to know some information on John Dryden, the Restoration poet, okay, of English literature. So Thank you, dear viewers, for listening and watching this video. I hope you understood. Thank you so much. Kindly subscribe to my channel and watch it. So, thank you so much. Thank you, Ananda.